When you interact with your ex after a breakup, something very important is happening behind the scenes. Your ex is testing you. And the scary part is that most people don't even realize it's happening until they've already failed. They think that their ex is just being distant or sending weird texts or starting arguments out of nowhere. But in almost every case, these are tests. And if you fail them, you confirm their decision to leave. But if you pass, you instantly become more attractive and make them reconsider the entire breakup. So you have to understand that when your ex tests you, they're not being difficult or playing games. In most cases, it's part of the natural detachment process. After a breakup, they're trying to figure out whether giving the relationship another chance would actually lead to something different or just drag them back into the same problems that ended things in the first place. And that's why they start watching your reactions very closely. They want to know if you're still the same, needy, reactive person they walked away from. Or if you're the confident, emotionally stable person that they originally fell for. And here's the part that most people miss. These tests are rarely conscious. Your ex isn't sitting at home, designing them like some kind of strategy. Their behavior naturally starts probing for information about your emotional state. Now, once you understand what these tests look like, you're going to start seeing them everywhere. So let's go through the most common ones and exactly how to pass them. Now, this one is the most common test, and it's where most people lose the game immediately. It often happens right after the breakup, or even worse, right after a conversation that actually seemed to go well. So you might have had, a half-hour phone call where you both laughed and felt that old spark. And then you hang up thinking, we're finally making progress. And then nothing. You text them the next day and they don't reply. Or they take 12 hours just to give you a one-word answer. And what they're really doing is watching your reaction. Silence is a vacuum, and it's the fastest way to expose somebody's internal state. When people feel ignored by someone that they still care about, their panic instincts kick in. They feel like they have to fix the silence. And this is where you might feel that physical itch to check your phone every 30 seconds. And you start wondering, did I say something wrong? Did they change their mind? Maybe there's someone else. And if you act on that panic, then you fail the test instantly. If you double text, ask if they're mad, or send the triple question mark message, you've told them that they still have total emotional control over you. You've just told them that your mood depends on their notifications. So to pass this test, you match their energy. If they're distant, you stay distant. You show them that you're calm, you're composed, and you're busy living your own life. Because when you don't chase, then the roles flip. They start wondering why you aren't the one panicking, and that uncertainty is what starts to rebuild attraction. Now, social media is the modern day indirect testing ground. Your ex knows you're looking, even if you've muted them or told them you aren't. They might post flattering photos of themselves out with friends looking like they've never been happier. Or they might post a story at a location that has a special meaning to the both of you. Or maybe post a photo with a new friend where the context is just vague enough to make you wonder. And the goal is to see if they can trigger a digital ping. They want to see if you like the photo or view the story within seconds of it being posted. Or the ultimate fail, send a DM asking, who's that guy? Or why are you at our spot? Really, any reaction tells your ex that they're still the main character in your story. It tells them that they still own your attention. So the best move is to show that you aren't obsessing over their online life at all. I often recommend staying off their social media entirely because checking it is just it's like picking a scab, right? It keeps you emotionally stuck. If you can't stop looking, you really have to mute them. And when they realize that their bait isn't catching any fish, then they start to feel the actual weight of the breakup. They realize that you aren't watching from the sidelines anymore, and that creates a massive shift in how they perceive your value. They begin to feel that you actually have moved on, which is really the only thing that creates real fear of loss. So the breadcrumb is one of the most confusing tests. Now, this is when your ex reaches out with a message that really has zero substance, something like, hey, or I saw this, I thought of you, or, did you ever find my blue sweater? Now, on the surface, it looks like a peace offering. You think, well, they're reaching out, they must want to talk. But you have to look at the effort. If they send a 1% effort text and you respond with 100% effort, sending 5 paragraphs about how much you've missed them, then really you've failed. You've shown them that your price is incredibly low. You've told them that they can have access to your emotions whenever they're bored or lonely. To pass, you really need to keep the interaction high value. Be polite, be friendly, but be brief. Answer the question they asked and then stop. Don't ask 3 follow-up questions just to keep the conversation alive. If they want to talk to you, make them lead the way. When your ex realizes you aren't as available as you used to be, then they start to think about you a lot more. You want them to feel like talking to you is a privilege that they have to earn back, not something that you're handing out for free to anybody who just says, hey. All right, now this one is one of the most dangerous tests because it doesn't look like a test at all. Sometimes your ex will suddenly try to provoke an argument out of nowhere. They might send an accusation, bring up something negative from months ago, or blame you for something that's already seemed settled. Obviously, it can feel, confusing and unfair, like they're just trying to start a fight for absolutely no reason. But in breakup psychology, anger is often a form of connection. If they can trigger a strong emotional reaction from you, it tells them that you're still emotionally hooked. It proves they still have the remote control to your feelings. Now, most people fail this test by getting defensive. They start explaining their side, arguing the details, or saying something like, that's not fair, or, you did the same thing. But the moment you get pulled back into that back and forth, you're reinforcing the exact dynamic that pushed the relationship apart in the first place. You're showing them that if the two of you got back together tomorrow, the same arguments would just start all over again. So to pass this test, you just stay calm and neutral. If they say something provocative, your response should be something simple like, okay, I hear you and I appreciate your perspective, or, I'm sorry you feel that way. Because when you refuse to be pulled into the conflict, it's incredibly disarming. They expect the old version of you, the reactive one who would jump straight into the argument. But when you stay composed, it shows them that something about you has genuinely changed. And that kind of emotional control is one of the most attractive traits that a person can display after a breakup. Eventually, your ex will become curious about whether you've started seeing somebody new. They may ask you directly, or they might make a snide comment like, I'm sure you've already replaced me. Now, this is a test of loss aversion. People don't value something until they think they might lose it. They want to know if their safety net is still there. If you tell them you're miserable and can't even think about dating, then you've failed. You've told them they have all the time in the world to decide if they want you back. But if you try to make them jealous by posting fake dates or bragging, you're also going to fail because it looks transparent and desperate. So the past here is really, it's strategic mystery. You don't give any details. You simply say something like, I've been enjoying my freedom and just seeing what's out there, but I'm really focused on myself right now. Something like this is really the ideal middle ground. You aren't saying you're in a relationship, but you're also not saying that you're sitting at home waiting. And that uncertainty, the maybe they are, maybe they aren't, that triggers a natural sense of competitive urgency. It makes them realize that the door is closing, and if they want a spot in your life, they can't afford to wait forever. Now, a test that's becoming more common is the proxy test. And this is when your ex doesn't contact you directly, but they reach out to a mutual friend or maybe even a family member just to check in on you. They'll ask things like, how is he doing? Or is she seeing anyone? Or I'm just worried about them. And really, this is a test by proxy. They know that whatever they say to that friend will eventually get back to you. And they're looking to see if you're still talking about them. If you hear this and immediately text your ex saying, I heard you were asking about me, then you've failed. You've shown that you're still listening for their name. You've shown that the information pipeline is still open. Now, to pass this one, you really need to remain a black hole of information. When your friend tells you that your ex was asking about you, your response should just be, oh, that's nice of them. I hope they're doing well. And then you change the subject. You don't ask follow-up questions or ask what else they said. And when that friend reports back to your ex, and they probably will, they'll say, he seemed fine. He didn't really have much to say. And this is the ultimate pass. It shows your ex that you're no longer seeking information about them. It creates a silence that's much louder than any text message you could ever send. Now, at this point, you might be wondering, how do I keep this up? How do I pass every single test without slipping up? And the truth is, if you're just acting like you don't care, you probably will eventually fail. You'll have a weak moment at 1 a.m, or you'll have one too many drinks, and you'll send that text that you regret. The real secret to passing these tests isn't about willpower, it's about an internal shift. You have to get to a point where your value isn't tied to your ex's opinion of you. Most people spend the entire breakup acting like their ex is the prize and they're the contestant trying to win them back. And as long as you have that mindset, you're going to be reactive. You're going to be nervous. You're going to fail the tests because you're terrified of losing them. But when you realize that you are actually the prize, that your time, your energy, and your love are valuable commodities, that's when the dynamic changes. You stop worrying about passing the test and start realizing that you're the one testing them to see if they're even worth your time anymore. And when you focus on your own growth, leveling up your career, hitting the gym, building a life that you actually enjoy, you pass these tests automatically. You aren't acting busy, you are busy. You aren't acting like you don't care about their Instagram. You genuinely have better things to do than look at it. So your ex is testing you to see if you've actually changed or if you've fallen apart without them. They want to know if the version of you that they broke up with is still the person standing in front of them today. Every interaction is an opportunity to show them that you've evolved. Begging, pleading, and chasing never works because those behaviors are rooted in scarcity and fear. But showing them that you're strong, that you're emotionally stable, and perfectly capable of walking away comes from a position of strength. When you stop reacting to their tests, you stop orbiting around their life and start building your own. And the real paradox of breakups is that the moment you truly let go of the outcome is often the exact moment they start trying hardest to hold on. When you no longer need them to come back in order to feel okay, you become the most attractive version of yourself possible. Now, I've made a full video explaining the psychology of letting go and why it often creates the pull that brings people back. And you can watch that video right here in the corner or in the description. There's a link there. And if you found this helpful, let me know in the comments which of these tests you've been seeing from your ex lately. That's it for now. Best of luck, guys. See you in the next video.